Hello Wolfpack, this is video number 53. In this video I'd like to discuss my diet. Today is day 3 of my diet and I will be showing you how I make dinner for my diet. Today I'll be showing you how to make spaghetti bolognese. This is one of my preferred meals for my diet. So we'll start off with the ingredients. You need 2 tablespoons of oil, but they will be in separate pans. You need 1 brown onion. 1 brown onion roughly chopped and just chopped into little squares like this. Nothing too special about that. Next you need garlic. Now I love garlic. I'm a bit of a garlic fanatic. So what you do, you peel 13 of these, 13 of these, peel off the bottom and just roughly cut off the knobby bit. See if I can get a bit more light in here, bear with me. There we go. And what you do, grab a fork. And all you do is crush your garlic. Okay. Now I've already pre-done most of this to save time on the video. Last video took like half an hour and I was rendering it for a long time. Here's the garlic all crushed up in that exact same way. So there's 13 cloves of garlic. Between 12 and 13. I really love garlic. There's that awesome smell. Next on the list, you need 500 grams of meat. Today I'm using pork, but usually I use the beef. And I'm using this because it was just, I had some left over in the freezer and I needed to use it up. Next on the list, 2 cans of diced tomatoes. Now, it should be noted that I have taken this recipe off the internet from a guy who does one-pot cooking, and he actually taught me how to do this by showing me his video. I'm going to give a link to it down the bottom, but I've improved upon his recipe for my needs, so I just want to say a big shout out to him. So anyway, back to the cans of diced tomato. Normally I use this. This comes from Aldi's. It's just Australian diced tomatoes. But today I'm going to be using Italian diced tomatoes with basil and oregano. Just a slight variation. I don't know what it tastes like, but as a rule, stick to the diced ones. Don't use whole tomatoes and then cut them up. I tend to find that they're too watery. Okay, so first step in this is that you get the biggest bowl you can, right? And this is a pretty big bowl, right? It's quite large. So what you do, you put your 2 cans of your diced tomatoes in. Make sure you get a spoon to scrape out the excess. Don't waste any food. Now I'm not recommending any brands that I use. I'm not sponsored by any of them. These are just what I use. So don't think that I'm getting paid for this. Just happens to be what I can afford and use. Next one is 1 can of tomato puree. Now this is the Legos. I really love the Legos tomato puree. So you put one can of that in. The reason why you add the extra tin of puree is to give it that extra sauce. Next time I make this, not this time, but next time I'm going to consider adding 2 cans of tomato puree just to see what happens. Because I love a lot of sauce. I'm a very big fan of saucy stuff. Now, I'm just reading off the recipe, so bear with me. 2 tablespoons of chutney. Now this is Rosella fruit chutney. Why do you do this? Is because it gives it a sweetness that I just love. So 2 tablespoons. Right. Don't put too much in. I might actually. I'll stick with 2 because it's what I know and what's safe. I was going to put a 3rd one in, but I think just to make sure that this turns out all right, I'll just use that. Now, next on the list, 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. Now, when I was looking over the guy's recipe who initially recommended this, a lot of people said, well, where do you get Worcestershire sauce from? I don't know. Here in Australia you can get it, but I don't know of any equivalent. I really don't. So that's 2 tablespoons of this. Italian herbs. Now, next on the list, 2 tablespoons of Italian herbs. I've also added 1 teaspoon, right, of salt. Nothing specific. It doesn't have to be sea salt or kosher salt, just anything, just normal cooking salt. So 2 tablespoons of herbs and 1 teaspoon of salt. Just pour that in. Don't be shy. Now, beef stock. My family uses this with beef. I'm using it with pork and I probably shouldn't, but this is the Micelle stock powder with beef. 1 level tablespoon, right? A little bit of sauce got in that. 1 level tablespoon powder pre-mixed with just a touch of water. So you've got some boiling hot water, just a little bit. And just mix it up. Right, just pour that in. You don't have to. I'm a lousy cook, so everything kind of goes in one pot. If it doesn't work that way, it doesn't really get cooked. Beef stock. That's it for the mixture. Oh wait, no. There is one final item, and that is tomato paste. Right. What you need is 2 tablespoons. Let me just work this. Two tablespoons. All right, they don't have to be level. Nice and thick. All right, put that in. Now, something that I forgot to mention right at the start, which is probably the most important thing, is that make sure that you wash your hands. Right. The first step in cleaning, in cooking, is making sure that you're clean, that you've got clean hands, clean nails, and that when you're cooking for your family. If you're cooking for someone else, always cook with gloves because it's unhygienic. But because it's only really me that I'm cooking for today, I don't really need to worry too much about it. That's it. That's your mixture. All right. You will need that. Just bear with me while I clean some equipment and make up a bit of less of a mess. Now, the second step, that's the first stage in this. Let me just, I'm going to turn on the other camera, so bear with me. I'm just turning on the GoPro 3 because I need 2 cameras in order to make this, to get this recording. So Okay, recording on. Now, I've moved over to the kitchen. You're going to need 2 pots. The first pot you're going to need is a flat pan pot, right? Second pot is you're going to need a cooking pot, right? So, what you do is you put 1 tablespoon of oil. Actually, sorry. You don't have 2 tablespoons of oil in this. What you do is you spray your pan. What you do, you go get the extra virgin olive oil spray and you spray your pan. You put in your beef or your pork, whatever you happen to have at the time. And you fry your pork. Make sure you break up your pork. Continually break up your meat. Make sure that it doesn't burn. Now you need a colander. What you need to do next is a colander and a sieve. Just fry your meat. Make sure it's just got no pink bits and break up these clumpy bits. Now you'll notice that there is a lot of liquid in the bottom of this. Okay, when all the pink bits are gone and it's just generally broken up, personally I'd like to break it up a little bit more, but because I'm recording today I'm not going to. Try and keep the video short. Okay, don't overcook your meat and drain it. I will show you in a second what I am doing. Just drained all the meat into a sieve and made sure that there's no liquid. I don't know if you can see that along there, but there is a lot of liquid that has come out. Next thing, main pot. Let the meat settle just off the side of the stove. 1 tablespoon of oil is all you need, so bear with me. That's all you really need, Wolfpack. Probably a little bit too much, but this is my second cooking video, so you have to excuse me if I'm not that great at it. Throw in your onions. Fry them up. If you need to, turn the heat down a bit. About a minute for that, maybe 2, just until you've got that lovely onion smell. Next thing that you'll be putting in is your garlic. As well as your mushrooms. Make sure you throw them in together. Don't cook them for too long. If you do find it sticking to the bottom of the pot, just put a drop of water in. But beware, there is quite a hazardous, quite a fire hazard that could be that could involve that. So please just be very, very, very careful. If you are a young person watching this video, make sure that you always have a parent's supervision while you're in the kitchen. If you ever have a fire in the kitchen, first thing you do is you turn off the heat and, if possible, remove the pan from the stove. There's actually a few videos on YouTube about the fire warning given by the British fire service, so go look them up about cooking in the kitchen. Throw in your beef. That's actually pork, just pointing that out, that is pork. I know that it's pork, but just put that in. And then all you do is throw in your sauce. In fact, I'd probably not recommend using the water that I did earlier, simply because I don't know your situation, your conditions, or how you know that, so don't use water. Just make sure you don't burn it. I'd rather recommend that you turn down the heat rather than burn it. That's your next item. Give that a good mix. Now, you must wait for that to boil, or come to the boil. While I do that, I'm going to explain to you guys about the bacon. While I do that, I'm going to explain to you guys about the bacon. What you want for the bacon is you want this, and you'll notice that there's absolutely no fat on it. This is how bacon rashers come in the packet, with this globules of fat. What you need to do is get a small knife and cut off the fat, trim the fat, because you have to, if you want to lose weight, that's what you've got to get rid of. Now I've done 13 rations of bacon, right? Maybe one extra because of the video, but make sure you trim all the fat off, right? Make sure that it's very lean. These small bits cut off, and you will fry them in a second. You'll come to find that you'll have a lot of offcuts like that. That's offcuts from these other slices, and that's how it's supposed to end up, nice and clean. So next, get a big knife. And just roughly cut up into large squares. My personal preference is large squares, so half, 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 and just large squares. So they're about a thumb's square. You know, they're not too big, too small. Now the items come to a boil. You can leave the lid on for that, and what you do, you get your fry pan, put that back on, make sure you spray it, and just gently fry your bacon. While that's frying, just maybe heat up a bit. Don't forget your little bits, which I nearly did. Oh, I tell you, Wolfpack, the smell of this bacon and the onion in the main dish and all the other ingredients is just really yummy. Really, really, really yummy. I'm not kidding, it smells great. It smells like a real bacon smell. So I wish I could give that to you, that smell. Now, you see this? I'll bring it over to this one. You see this? This is the stuff you've got to cut off. Really like this, that line of fat. You just go back, cut it off. Make sure you've got as little fat on it as possible. Now you just gently want to cook these this bacon. It's just, you don't want to overcook it, just enough to kind of give it that extra cooking that it needs. You don't want to cook it too much, just enough so it starts to go brown, like this one here. Be very careful when you reach into a pot like that. It's probably not a good idea, you probably burn yourself. Just have to disclaim everything on the internet. Okay, just I don't know, how long has it been? 2 minutes, 3 minutes to kind of pre-cook this. Usually I prefer the two meats, the one with the beef and the one with the pork, but I have pork on pork today, so a little bit of a disappointment, but that's the way it is. Like I said, just change it out for 500 grams of your favourite meat, so usually beef for me. And that's it, that's all you do. What you do, you put it into your batch. And put it on your heat until bring it to the boil again. Oh gee Wolfpack, smell that. I cannot tell you how awesome that smells. Oh, the mushrooms and the pork and the meat. Smells beautiful. It smells really good. Bring that to the boil, and what happens is when you've brought it to the boil, cook it for 20 minutes and then leave it to cool. So that's, once again, that's boiling. You can't overcook it, so if you cook it for half an hour, that's fine too. You know, there's no rush. Turn it down to low. I think I'll put it on 2. Mine is a cooktop, just cook it on 2. And that's it. On the final notes of this video, when the meat finishes cooking in 20 minutes, let me just set the clock. What you do, you let it cool. You let it rest and you let it cool. You don't take it out of the pot. You leave it there, and you leave it there for a good half an hour. And what you do, as per my video on containers, you per person, just say you're serving it for yourself, you put in 3 ladlefuls, right? So, what size ladleful? Just an ordinary average ladle, just one of these. 3 scoopfuls in, and then divide up the entire batch into equal lots, into making sure that they're in 3 ladle lots, but equally. If you have some left over, you just distribute it. It's not a hard and fast rule that it must be 3. Then what you do is you freeze it and you take it out the night before when you need it. So therefore you've got a few days meal. meals for a few days, and yeah, that's it. What you do, you measure out 100 grams of pasta, spaghetti. Let me try and find it. Just an ordinary thin pasta, right? Right, spaghetti, 100 grams, no more, and that's it. You just cook that for 20 minutes in boiling water and serve up. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. Once again, a big thank you to the One Pot Cook and for help for starting me out on this, but I have improved upon it. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. I don't make any promises that I'll answer them straight away, but I will do my best. Respect who you are, respect where you come from, and respect honor and pride. Thank you, Wolfpack. I wish you all the best. Bye.